And welcome everyone to the weekly meeting, weekly catch up. Share the notes. Please add yourself as always if you have anything to report. I'm not quite sure. I don't have anything particularly on the agenda outside of, again, asking people to test out the discretized branch. I just, again, please test it out. As far as quick reports, for myself, I've got just been finishing up the boundary condition stuff. I think I've convinced myself that I'm happy with where it's at, even with like it's still like slightly off for the curvilinear stuff when it's like a really skewed boundary, but I'm not sure what I can do to get around it. I've been playing with a few other things, but they're just nothing is as accurate as what I did the first time, and I'm not quite sure what else I can change with it. So I mean, it's really close. Like it's a matter of that. Okay, I'm expecting it to converge in second order, but it's doing like first order instead or something, or like slightly below second order. I mean, it's close. It's much closer than it would be without using it. Other than that, oh, I think, let's see, we did the Wednesday thing last week, so I guess we can have a Friday session this week. Anybody wants to join in, kind of say hi and chat on the Friday afternoon if you'd like. And we've got an iPhone connecting.
Maybe Joe, we should consider just joining force because it's subsurface, right? On Friday, Dieter.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's a good point. Let's focus on that instead then.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Again, Dieter, if you want to put out an advertisement for subsurface, Dieter.
Transform. We just had, I don't know if someone joined, we just had the hackathon mashup in Gathertown, the last 1.5 hours, where most hacks were presented for interested folks to pick one. But yeah, there's a subsurface which I would be really glad if, like with Joe and Discretize, can have a look. DOM with H5, GeoH5. I don't know if this is thing. And just generally, if someone is interested in how you bring a GeoPy model to SimPEG, or how you bring a SimPEG model to PyGimli, or all these things. Karsten from PyGimli, he told me he will implement it into PyGimli as well. So it should, if everything works out, then in a week we should be able to move around between many packages fairly easy. So if that's something that appeals to you, join forces. If it's not putting in the code, it's we will need people to document it, to test it, to make examples, to bring in ideas, to whoever is interested. And generally, sorry.
What time is that starting?
Well, it's an open start because it's all around the globe, but there's not a boom, now we start. Last year we did a pre-hack meeting on Friday night here, so your morning. And then it was over 2 weekends, but then the second weekend was a bit low on attendance. I think everybody was exhausted. So this time we decided we start on Friday, and it's just officially the first weekend, and then during the week and on Friday is the finish. The other Friday. But so it depends on the project. In subsurface, you probably will have like a first meeting evening Europe. So that will be your, like now, what time you have now, 10, 11?
Yeah, it's 10:30 in BC.
Yeah, so probably around this time, just a meet up and look who's doing what, and then, But then it's mainly Saturday, Sunday. And then have a look at the schedule. There are 21 tutorials. One is from Sogi on Tuesday, but there are many other interesting ones. Devito, PyGimli, PyVista, GeoPy, 2 statistics, machine learning. Yeah, there are many tutorials happening Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday.
Sorry, Dieter, can you confirm, are you meeting, you guys are all meeting at the same time on Friday at some point? When is that time?
I don't know.
Oh, okay, you don't know.
We haven't, I think we will, but we have not decided anything.
Okay.
But we will post it in the Slack channel of Subsurface. Yeah. But I expect it will be around this time now. So like Europe 6, 7-ish, which would be 10, 11-ish in this case for you guys.
Hi, Dieter. Yeah, I noticed the transform will start on the Friday this week, right?
Yep.
And I noticed the yesterday, and they have many talks on the YouTube. Are these talks a part of the transform meeting or not?
Yesterday, no.
No.
We learned something. We thought we could do the dry run with the same streaming keys, but that didn't work out well. So this was a glitch. This should not have happened because we do beforehand with each presenter, we do a dry test. And he thought we can use the same streaming key, but then that started that meeting and informed anyone who signed up for it. So yeah, we had a couple of nice feedbacks. Yes, that was an error.
Okay, got it.
Sorry for that.
Thanks for clarifying that.
That's good. Okay. Anything else with regards to subsurface or transform? Yep, keep an eye out for that. Sounds like there's going to be some good stuff there. Hopefully you'll be able to contribute meaningfully over the hackathon. It'll be fun. Okay, we can go into some quick reports then. Devin, do you mind going first?
Sure.
It anyway, so.
Yeah, I think I took an initial stab at getting organized with finishing the API for Discretize. It's just getting my bearings straight and you know, building the website locally and seeing kind of what needs to get done. So I haven't really gone in and just really filled in the doc strings, but hopefully I can find some time to do that. And what else did I write here? Yeah, and I guess today I'll take Joe's branch of Discretize and I'm gonna rebuild the SimPEG website locally, and that should be a way of testing all the tutorials and things like that. And that should be a really good indicator whether or not things are matching up. So yeah, I haven't had as much time to put into SimPEG lately, but I'm hoping to do so in the next week or two.
So one of the other things I'd like to emphasize with the Discretize tests, if you run into bugs or errors, it would be helpful to know what they are so we can add them as tests, because it means it probably wasn't getting tested correctly. So just saying that.
Do you have a place where you're keeping track of those though?
I would say put them on the pull request and make note of them on the pull request.
Okay.
Just because it's not a bug with the main branch yet, it's a bug on that one. And I would say make it, you just kind of add it to that pull request. Like, oh, we're seeing this bug, and I can address it.
Okay.
Dieter, we've already went through. Dom?
Nothing much of development, just supporting people getting started and doing some research, I guess. One neat thing is the some research project with the Spectrum guys with their full tensor mag. Running some inversions for that look good. Then we might have a beta tester for the tiled MT from Brock University. They have an ELF data set that they want to invert. So I'm sorry, Devin, you're saying something?
Yeah, I was gonna bring that up today. Actually, I was wondering if they, because they wanted to do MT, but we don't give out an academic license.
Oh yeah, so you got an email from them on the I see on the E3DMT, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think as you know, since they are academics and they don't have any money, it makes sense for them to start using SimPEG. So yeah, it's just helping out this master student to get started. That could be good for us, for everybody. And yeah, can't think of anything else. And that's it.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other reports, items to kind of touch on?
I mean, if nobody has anything else, one thing I might bring up is how we want to go about packages that people want to link up with SimPEG. I think one of the ones I hear traction on is PyVista. And so it seems like there's been some interest in kind of linking it up so that you could use PyVista to plot results that you would get out from SimPEG, but I'm not sure how well they work together. And it also you would need to install the package. And we had a similar thing we did with Plotly for those 3D pseudo section plots. And I'm kind of wondering if we can come up with, I guess, an optional, like optionally available functionality. So if you had this package installed, if you had PyVista, or in this case, if you have Plotly, then you'd actually be able to see the plotting function. But if you don't have that package, it just wouldn't be available to you. So you wouldn't have to make it part of the required list of packages to use SimPEG. But if you had it, you would be able to interface it with it in some kind of meaningful way.
So right now it's kind of done in discretize like that. There's an interface like to a VTK. It'll either use, like if PyVista is installed, it'll return like a PyVista object. If only VTK is installed, it'll return a VTK object. But I think that would probably be where we would want to interface with it mostly, is for plotting, like, because people are asking to visualize things on the meshes most of the time, right? That's when they're wanting to, oh, I want to visualize this model in 3D quickly. I want to be able to do these things. That's not just a plot slice and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'd imagine that we would have to have it going on there. And I believe there's an issue on discretize already talking about that, but there's mechanisms in right now in discretize that like kind of do that kind of thing. Like if you have PyVista installed, it adds on functionality. It adds on functionality to the discretized meshes.
Yeah, I do remember, and maybe it's been fixed, but I do remember having a PyVista example in our examples gallery, and it caused tests to fail, or it wasn't 100% reliable, and it caused failures in the tests somewhat regularly. I don't know if that interfacing problem has been fixed, but I remember it wasn't as clear cut to get our stuff working with PyVista.
I think it's probably more VTK issues
Okay.
with installing, not really interfacing between SimPEG, discretize, and PyVista. I think it's more installation-based things that often hit. I might be wrong, but that's how I recall.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Because I think the discretize to PyVista is pretty solid, and there is no problem to export any discretize to, well, I only know actually from tensor meshes because I never used the cylindrical ones or the octree. But
Right.
with the tensor meshes, there is definitely no problem to export to PyVista and show it, I think.
Okay.
But PyVista can be hard to install.
Yeah, it should be able, right now it should support at least tensor meshes and octree meshes. I think it might also support curvilinear meshes, but I don't remember. But the example right now that's on the discretized website goes just fine. as far as just a simple example of visualizing with PyVista and discretize. That one builds just fine.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem using PyVista. I think it worked for curvilinear mesh, I think.
That's what I thought so as well. I thought it worked for curvilinear, but I haven't tested it myself.
Yeah, I think so. I also use PyVista to visualize some inverted models from the SimPEG.
Okay. Well, I mean, if everyone's using it now and they tell me that it works great, then I guess maybe there isn't really any issue.
If anything, it could probably use more examples of showing how to use it with SimPEG.
But is that within our purview? Like, we're not, I don't know, I figured there'd be some assumption that you would know how to use PyVista. Like, we wouldn't want to kind of spend too much time going through details of PyVista. We'd like to be able to just send it and then have something pop up that's pretty reasonable and let you play with it if you knew how to run that package.
I think what some people were asking for were just like simple plotting functions, like, oh, I'd like to plot this 3D with a threshold and look at it, or something like that. Like just kind of really, really simplified plotting functions, 3D plotting functions, which is something we could do on discretize.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'd be fine with that. And then if you had PyVista installed, you'd have access to that functionality or be able to use it. And if you didn't have that package installed, you either wouldn't be able to use that particular method or it would give you back something else.
Yeah. And just a reminder, like the the current hackathon that we're planning on with Subsurface is exactly to do this, right? Is to not have to worry about individual external packages, but just have one transfer format, right? So we have a way to transform our meshes onto a subsurface object, which we can then give to PyVista, and PyVista knows how to deal with it. Then we don't need to have converters between discretize to PyGimli, discretize to PyVista, discretize to, we don't just only transfer to a subsurface object, and then the other library knows how to digest it. So if you are interested, help out.
Yeah, so I kind of like that. If I understand correctly, instead of writing something within SimPEG that's interfacing with, say, PyVista or something else, you just have an IO that throws it into the format that would let you interface with that, and you're responsible for. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Or at least it feels like it's much easier to maintain on this side.
Yeah.
And the conversion is supposed to be pretty simple, right? Because it's all going to be converted into I think a Panda data frame or an X-array, something like this. So it's just a matter of handling metadata in and out.
Yeah, because if you actually are calling PyVista, well, I mean, yeah, if they change input arguments or they change something, then you're kind of having to maintain that portion of it, which I'm not a huge fan of. Maybe it's easy, but I wouldn't say I'm a huge fan of it.
Yeah, our only dependency is now only like it would be basically just subsurface and not PyVista, right? If someone wants to look at it in PyVista, that's fine. They install it and then they just do the conversion to a subsurface object and then they go with it. But we don't have on our side to keep track of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually for now, just because Miguel needs something to show, to test things, at the moment, the PyVista is straight off implemented in subsurface. You need still to install it, but it would be, if you can get it from SimPEG into subsurface, then PyVista is already enabled. So I think the document, what exists of the documentation of subsurface already has PyVista examples. And Bain will be around too.
I'm not too familiar with subsurface. Is that something that comes with Python 3 standard, or is that a separate package that you need to install?
No, that's what we're working on right now. Starting on Friday, right? We're going to keep adding to it. I mean, Miguel that already did the base infrastructure, but
It starts as well, it exists, but it's not complete yet. But we hope over the next days and weeks it will come in shape.
Cool.
I have one request for for you guys. I'm giving this tutorial on Tuesday. I think it's 8 p.m. UTC. So I think it's 1 p.m. in PST or something like that. I need a couple of people that could potentially answer some of the question in the Slack, because I think it's unlikely that I could see all the question when I'm speaking to the audience. Yeah, if anybody can come in and answer some of the question, and hopefully if there's a distinctive question, if you guys could let me know, that'll be great.
What day was that? Next Thursday?
Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Okay.
It's I think it's about 1 p.m. I think in Vancouver.
I don't think I have anything else at that time. I'd be willing to help out with that.
Yeah, great.
yeah, I can be there too.
Yeah, if you can be there, that'd be great, because I'm mostly going to talk about Mac, which I'm not big expertise. So yeah, that'll be great. Thank you.
I'm probably gonna drop a message here in the SimPEG Slack half an hour before who's helping, and then I can add you to the backstage Slack channel.
Sounds great.
How's your project going? Looks good? You ready?
I am getting there. I learned how to actually use GeoSci just to generate a couple of like geologically complicated models, and I think I'm mostly done. I think I still need to generate a few examples, but I'm mostly done. And I'll probably send you guys the repo later to kind of have some opinions about that. But I think my sort of aiming is not necessarily they're running when I'm talking. So I'm just going to show the example and point there are resources. It's only 2 hours. So yeah, I guess they're just going to focus on that, presenting the materials, not too much interactions.
Yeah, the live demos are too stressful.
And what's your impression of GeoSci?
I didn't spend too much time, because I basically started your example, Dieter, because they have this perfect example, and I had no idea how to actually convert all the output files, which I thought like but at the end I was able to understand that they still work in the level of voxels, not because I was thinking they are working in a continuous space and have surfaces and faults, but it seems like they do have a definition of 3D voxel, and that's sort of the level that they are working with. Anyway, at the end, it seems like it was fine. It's like you just need to know how the tensor mesh works, and then it was fine. But
I do think they work with continuous surfaces, but then I extracted it as a voxel model.
Right. That's probably the case. That was because that was my initial understanding.
I sampled it at regular points. Yeah.
Oh, that's what you probably did. I guess.
Yes.
I see.
Because I needed a regular mesh, so I sample it regularly. But in GeoSci, it's either defined by a point and a normal to it as a plane, or by some curves.
Yeah, that's much more that's much more making sense.
Yeah.
There's no need to actually have.
Then you have the object, and then you can get out the value at any point you want. So then I took it out at regular points to put it into a discretized mesh.
Right.
If I remember right.
Yeah. anyway, I was able to use your code and have a rough understanding how things work.
Okay, well, that sounds good. The only other thing I'd like to mention is to, again, remind people who are on the governance chat like last week, to go through some, think through those mission statements again. Just a reminder here. I know we've added a few things on there, so we should probably push forward on that a little bit more. That is there, unless there's anything else that we're going on, I think we're at a good point. Just for another reminder, do some, look through some pull requests, do some reviews if you feel up for it. Just go take a whack at it if you'd like.
Cool. Yeah, I need to switch around our meeting, but have a good week, guys. We'll see you on Friday for those of you who are hackathoning. Later.
Sounds good.
Cheers, guys.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Bye.